Hi, folks. This is Deputy Caulfield. You need to remove your hats. Consider this to be just like as if it was in a courtroom. Moto G Stylus 5.6.
There we go.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Please make sure you have a pen and paper at your fingertips right now. You will have things to write down, so please get your pencil or pen and paper ready. Please put out all cigarettes, do not smoke, vape, or anything of the sort while you are in court and live on YouTube. Those are against rules, both for court and YouTube. Please remove all ball caps as a sign of respect to the judicial institution of these proceedings. Please handle yourself just as you would if you were in a court of law, because you are in a court of law. All right, this is our Wednesday, July 5th, 2023 traffic docket. We will proceed accordingly. Most of you are here for your first appearance on charges. Some of you have been here before, so it'll be a little bit different for you. We will begin with Attorney Gering's case.
Let me grab Mr. Olson, Your Honor, right here.
Thank you.
He is present, Your Honor.
Very well, we are on the record in the 13th Judicial District, the District Court of Butler County, Kansas, beginning this docket with case number 2023 TR 95, State of Kansas versus Preston Olson. Please announce appearances.
Eric Vergeer on behalf of the state.
May it please the court, Ryan Gearing for Mr. Olson, who's also present during or via the Zoom application. If you recall, Your Honor, this is the case we spoke about last week where there was maybe supposed to be a warrant, but probably wasn't. So if what I'd like to do, if we could, obviously we don't have any discovery or anything yet. If we could just set this for a control date, in 30, 45 days or so we can look at it and figure out what we need to do. That's what I'd ask for.
All right, and what did you, there's your client back there. You are Preston K. Olson, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you are here for driving while suspended. And I believe this is actually his first appearance, is it not?
Yes, Your Honor. We would waive formal reading.
Yes, he was supposed to be here March 10th. Okay, so defendant reads formal reading of his rights and charges, which include driving while suspended, DUI, and transporting an open container. A not guilty plea is entered on all counts. And Ashley, his next appearance will be when?
You want a Monday?
I would think, Mr. Gearing, would you like a Monday or a Wednesday?
Monday's fine.
Okay,
October the 16th?
9 a.m., October the 16th. Okay, so that's going to be a good 90 plus days out. So hopefully, Mr. Gearing, you'll have all your discovery and time to talk to the prosecutor and be in a position to either announce for trial or resolution. I would hope that if it is for any type of plea, that an alcohol and drug evaluation could be done by that time as well, since I'm having to set these out so far.
We should be fine, I would anticipate, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Gearing, is all of this, or Mr. Regier, is all of this acceptable to the state?
Your Honor, as far as addressing the issue of a possible plea, my understanding is this is Mr. Sweeney's case. So I would respectfully suggest any communication on this case between counsel and my office should be directed towards him. I do not believe that I'm showing an appearance bond in the file, and this defendant is charged with at least one Class A and at least one Class B. If the court is prepared to order a bond at this time, state would recommend $2,000. I'll defer to the court whether it wants to make that a cash or surety bond. In any event, given that at least one of these charges is a driving under the influence charge, as well as a TOC, state would respectfully suggest no contact with illegal drugs or alcohol during the pendency of this case would be appropriate special condition of the bond.
Thank you, Mr. Regier. Because of the unusual circumstances in this case, a bond has not been set. I am going to order a $2,000 OR bond at this time. And as far as pictures and prints, Mr. Gearing, you and your client will need to visit after this hearing with Sally Port 2 and set up a time to get that taken care of, please.
I would, I mean, this is a DUI case, Your Honor, so I anticipate he's already been processed. He was arrested, so.
Are you sure he was arrested? I thought he wasn't. I don't think he has been. What do you show, Deputy Caulfield? No? Yeah, I
No.
don't think he has, counsel. Somehow he just kind of fell through several cracks there and
I'm showing that he needs processed.
I believe he does. It's
Okay.
highly unusual, but I think that's right, Mr. Gearing. If he believes otherwise, I'll let you and your client discuss that with Sally Port too, but at this time I'm ordering pictures and prints and a $2,000 OR bond.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there's nothing further, we'll be in recess on Olson. And Mr. Gearing, do you have anyone else on the docket today?
I do not, Your Honor. Are we going to go to like a breakout room?
Yes, if you would, please, I would ask, okay, I'm using
Your
clerk
Honor,
and Clerk Ashley, what are your this morning?
Your Honor?
Savannah will be doing the breakout rooms today.
Okay, all right, so Savannah, if you put them in a breakout room, please, but before you do, you had a question, Mr. Regier, or a comment?
yes, Your Honor. Does the $2,000 bond include the requested special condition?
Absolutely, do not violate any laws and do not have any contact, they've already gone, but if you'd let them know, Deputy Caulfield, no alcohol, no drugs while he's on this. All right, thank you. And any other attorneys besides Mr. Regier on here? All right, who do you have in the breakout or in the Sallyport, Deputy?
I actually have three people. I have Kenneth Atkinson, Tommy Tibbetts, and a last name Tidwell Wilkie.
All right, let's take up Tibbetts first, please.
Okay.
We are on the record in 2023 TR 1273, State of Kansas versus Tommy Morgan Tibbetts. The state appearing by and through Assistant County Attorney Jared Regier, Mr. Tibbetts in person and pro se. Mr. Tibbetts is here on one count of operating a motor vehicle without a seat belt, and this carries a $30 fine, no jail time. Mr. Tibbetts, I understood in the clerk's notes that you may have a doctor's note that says you should not or cannot wear a seat belt. Is that correct?
I am, and so do you.
No, I don't have.
I gave you a copy of it last time I had come into court for no seatbelt when you was a prosecutor.
I was prosecuting you in 2023. No, sir.
No, it wasn't in 23. It was, we went before the judge, the lady with the dark hair, and you was the prosecutor at the time, and I gave you the letter and you took a copy of it.
That would have probably been Judge Linda Moon, and that would have been many, many, many years ago. Yes.
Like in 21, I think, or 20.
No, I would have
I can-
probably, yeah, I would have been judge at that time. So I think there's some confusion. Nevertheless, did you bring one for this case for the prosecutor, sir? What? If you don't, do you have it, Mr. Tibbetts?
Yeah,
All right. Can you, have you made that available to Mr. Regier's office?
I tried to give it to the prosecutors, but I couldn't talk to nobody. All I got to talk to was the lady at the front
Yeah,
desk area.
receptionist. Did she
Yeah.
not make a copy for you?
I didn't have it with me at the time.
Okay.
Because I swung in while I was on lunch break
All right, I am going to set this over.
to see if they still had their copy.
I'm going to set this over 2 weeks. In that time, I want you today to take that down to the receptionist, county attorney. And if they agree that that doctor's note is what it alleges to be, then I imagine they'll probably dismiss this case by then. If not, you'll need to be back here. So 2 weeks from today, 9 a.m., July 19th. Any questions about that, Mr. Tibbetts?
Oh, man.
Okay, Mr. Regier, any questions about any of that or comments?
Nothing from the state this time, Your Honor. Of course,
Right.
the impetus will be on the defendant to provide the alleged doctor's note, which of course, at this point, I have not seen.
Right, all right. So deputies, could you please get him to the county attorney's office or at least direct him? It'll be his responsibility. Yes, okay, Mr. Tibbetts, anything further?
Nope.
All right, thank you, sir. You're excused to go take that to the county attorney. And what is your name,
Correct.
sir?
Kenneth Atkinson.
Okay, we're now on the record in 2021 TR 3157, State of Kansas versus Kenneth Trey Atkinson. Jared Regier appearing for the state. The defendant, Mr. Atkinson, appearing in person and pro se. Sir, you were supposed to have been here February 23rd, 2022. You failed to appear and bench warrant bond issued. Where have you been for the last year and a half?
Alabama. I live in Alabama and I'm from Alabama. I moved up here for work and I lived here for about a year and a half, 2 years. And on my trip back, I had an expired tag. My tag had expired
All
about
right,
a
well,
year and
let's
a half.
not, excuse me, sir, excuse me. Let's not get into all that just yet. So you just disregarded these matters or forgot about them?
I got the ticket the day I was moving back and I build fiber optic cable.
Okay,
So
I just want to know why you didn't come back to court.
the court was a Zoom meeting and I didn't have no cell phone service because we were building the fiber optic lines where we were at.
Okay, and you did that, okay. All right, well, you've been gone for a year and a half, and I don't understand why you took that long to get here, other than you were finally arrested. But in any event, sir, you are here now, and you're charged in count 1 with 78 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone. That is a traffic infraction that does not carry any jail time, but a scheduled fine of $63. The registration, the tag charge, is an unclassified misdemeanor with a fine of anywhere from $50 to $2,500 and a 30-day sentence up to 6 months possible in jail. Any questions, Mr. Atkinson, about what you're accused or the possible penalties?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Regier, is he a possible diversion candidate at this late date and time?
Your Honor, I don't have any notes from the diversion coordinator one way or the other. Certainly, if that's an option he wants to pursue, the best way for him to contact my office would be by the office telephone number 316-321-6999.
Thank you, Mr. Regier. All right, how do you wish to proceed on these charges? Do you want to plead not guilty and set them for trial? Do you want to plead guilty, admitting them, and proceed with your sentencing? Do you want to plead no contest, where you neither admit nor deny the charges, but you would still be found guilty and proceed with sentencing? Or do you want to apply for the county attorney's diversion program, where if you paid your fine, costs, and diversion fee, you might be able to get these dismissed?
I'm gonna assume guilty. I don't know about any of the other ones really, but
Well, I would be happy to give you time to get an attorney, because you do have the right to an attorney. You can apply for any, or you can hire any attorney of your choice. If you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for court appointed, or you can waive your right to attorney and represent yourself. But I'd be happy to give you time to talk to an attorney to answer any questions and help you make up your mind how you want to proceed. Or I'd be happy to give you time even just to look into the diversion and see if that's something you want.
I think I'm gonna go with the guilty, Your Honor.
You don't want to talk to an attorney first?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you want to waive your right to an attorney then?
Yes, ma'am.
Even though you understand you can hire one or apply for one?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone making you waive your right to an attorney today, sir?
No, ma'am. I just want to get the court case over with so I can go back to Alabama.
All right, I will waive, or I will have the record reflect in the docket notes and the journal entry that you're knowingly and voluntarily waiving your right to counsel. How do you plead to speeding 78 and a 65 in Butler County, Kansas on November 20th, 2021?
Guilty.
And how do you plead to operating a motor vehicle in Butler County, Kansas on November 20th, 2021 without proper registration or tag?
Guilty.
Is anyone making you enter these pleas today by threats or promise?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand that if you continue with these pleas, you are giving up your right to a trial as well as your right to appeal your conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the ticket that you were issued November 20th, 2021, it looks like about 12:38 p.m., says you were stopped on US Highway 54 at east mile marker 239. Does that sound right, that you were stopped on Highway 54?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you operating a 2004 Chevy Silverado?
Yes, ma'am.
And it does say you had an Alabama plate. You said you were from Alabama?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Deputy, I presume you know where that mile marker is to give me jurisdiction? I mean, Mr. Regier?
Yes, Your Honor. My understanding is that's approximately halfway between Augusta and Leon. Certainly, almost smack dab in the middle of Butler County.
All right. You don't take any issue with that, Mr. Atkinson?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I will accept your pleas, sir, and find you guilty. Mr. Regier, recommendations for sentencing?
Your Honor, for count one, the speeding, the city would recommend the scheduled fine. I believe that's $63. Of course, there's $108 court costs. For count two, $50 fine, 30 days underlying, 12 months non-reporting probation.
I think that all comes to about 221. If my math is correct, Mr. Regier, you might want to check me. Mr. Atkinson, anything you want to say about your sentencing before I pronounce it?
No, ma'am.
Then I will follow the state's recommendations. On count one, your fine will be the state scheduled fine of $63. No jail time, again, as it's an infraction. On count two, a $50 fine. Your court costs are imposed of $108. Again, I believe that comes to $221. Your sentence is a suspended 30 days. You won't serve any jail time, provided you successfully complete a 6-month non-reporting probation. You don't have to report to anyone, but for 6 months, you have to comply with 2 things. First, don't violate any laws of any kind. Make sure your tag's current, your driver's license is current, that you have insurance when you operate a vehicle. And number 2, get the $221 paid. And when can you do that, sir? Do you need some time? Excuse me?
Immediately.
All right, if you pay that today, then the only thing you have to do is don't violate any laws for 6 months, and you won't have to worry about anything else on this case. If you violate the law, you're violating your probation, and you could get your probation revoked and serve the 30 days. But As long as you don't violate any laws, state, city, federal, you should be just fine.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Now, I am ordering Mr. Regier that he pay that today as a condition of his probation. Anything else, Mr. Regier, I need to address?
I do not believe so, Your Honor.
Anything further that you need me to address, Mr. Atkinson?
No, ma'am.
All right, then, sir, you are excused. Thank you for taking care of this. That brings us to Mr. Tidwell.
Judge, when we get done, I got a couple add-ons also.
Okay, some latecomers. We are on the record in 2022 TR 3164, State of Kansas versus Jericho Connor Tidwell Wilkie. State by Jared Regier, Mr. Tidwell Wilkie appearing in person and pro se. Mr. Wilkie, this is not your first scheduled appearance either. You were here January 4th, 2023, pled not guilty and was going to apply for diversion. But when we did the scheduled diversion review on March 29th, you failed to appear. Why did you fail to appear, sir?
I don't have a legitimate excuse, Your Honor. I simply forgot.
All right, did you apply for diversion?
I did not.
Have you abandoned that idea?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so how do you want to plead then today on that charge of operating a motor vehicle without valid registration in Butler County, Kansas on September 21st, 2022?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Do you want to talk to an attorney first? Remember I told, well, I don't know that I did. Yeah, remember we talked about your right to an attorney? Do you want to talk to an attorney?
Thank you, Your Honor.
And you know you have the right to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed if you can't afford one.
Yes, Your Honor.
And knowing that, you wish to waive your right to an attorney?
Correct.
Okay, is anyone making you give up your right to an attorney today by any kind of threat or promise?
No, ma'am.
Then how do you plead to the one count of unlawful registration?
Guilty.
Okay, you want to admit that you did on September 21st, 2022, operate a vehicle without registration in Butler County?
Yes, ma'am.
And is anyone making you enter this plea today by any kind of threat or promise?
No, ma'am.
You understand that you're giving up your right to trial as well as your right to appeal conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember where you were when the officers stopped you for this?
You're between
Where in Butler County? For instance, where?
inside of El Dorado here. We pulled off of Central between Freddy's and the Arby's here.
Okay, so the ticket, the citation you issued said the 800 block of West Central Avenue, El Dorado, and you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I will accept your plea and find you guilty. Your tag was what, expired? Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, finding you guilty. And Mr. Regier, recommendations for sentencing.
Your Honor, before I address that, for the edification of the court, that the location of the defendant indicated does appear to comport with what I have on the ticket. State would recommend a $50 fine, $108 court cost, 30 days underlying, 6 months non-reporting probation for the sole count of an expired tag. I would also request clarification of the court wants the journal entry to reflect that the defendant has waived his right to counsel on the record.
Yes, I'd ask the journal entry and the docket notes to reflect that he has knowingly and voluntarily waived right to counsel. Anything you'd like to say, Mr. Tidwell Wilkie, before I pronounce your sentence?
No, ma'am.
Then I will impose a $50 fine and $108 court costs for a total of $158. You will be given a 30-day suspended sentence. You will not have to serve that. provided for 6 months you do not violate any law and you get your money owed paid. When can you pay the 158, sir? Do you need some time or can you do that today?
I need some time, man.
I'm sorry?
I would need some time until my next payday.
Okay, and how much time? You want 30 days, 60 days?
30.
All right, I'll give you 30 days to pay that. If you don't have that paid 30 days from today, your license may get suspended. It probably will. And you'll probably get a private collection agent coming after you trying to collect the money owed. Any questions about that?
No, man.
All right. You may go, sir, unless there's anything further, Mr. Regier.
Nothing from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
Very well, we are in recess on Tidwell Wilkie. Mr. Geffrey, I see you're here. Are you prepared to proceed for your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here on Bobby Smith.
We are on the record in 2023 TR 1295, State of Kansas versus Bobby Joe Smith. Jared Regier for the state, Mr. Nathan Geffrey for the defendant, Bobby Smith. Is Mr. Smith here?
I don't believe that he was able to make it today, Your Honor. We have a tentative plea offer in place, Judge, and I believe that that we should have something worked out by the next court setting. I apologize for Mr. Smith not being able to make it today. That's partially on my fault, Judge, through communication. I didn't get the communication out to him soon enough. So he just wasn't able to change the schedule around. I take responsibility for that, Judge. I apologize.
Well, in light of the charges racing on highways and speeding 123 miles per hour in a posted 65 mile per hour, and the convenience of Zoom, I would have expected Bobby Joe Smith to be here.
I understand, Judge, and again, I take responsibility for that. I apologize.
Mr. Regier, any comments from the state?
Your Honor, I'll respectfully defer to the court as to how it wishes to proceed regarding the defendant's absence. I will respectfully advise the court that I have been in communication with counsel and my office has made a plea offer.
And then they get to fighting over him.
All right. I will continue this at the defendant's request to October. What was the date? Did you want a Monday, Mr. Geffrey, or a Wednesday?
Either day works for me, Judge.
Okay, why don't we give him a Monday?
October the 16th.
October the 16th, does that work?
That worked perfect for me, Judge. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That'll be at 9 a.m. And since that's set over so far, I trust we will either have a trial announcement or resolution otherwise, so.
It should be resolved by then, Judge. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and please have him here present.
He will, Judge. I promise. Thank
All right,
you again.
Thank you, Mr. Geffrey. We'll be in recess.
Have a good week, Judge. Thank you.
You too. Thank you, sir.
Judge,
Yes, sir.
you might see Attorney Davis is in our Sallyport 2. And his client, it was Arturo Reynoso, that was actually scheduled for 1:30.
Okay, I don't know that he'll be on my, okay, he's on my 1:30 docket.
I believe so. It's 23 TR 561.
And the client is with you, Mr. Davis. Good morning.
Morning, Judge. He is with us, and I do have a request for you if you would entertain that, Judge.
All right, well, let's go on the record then. But tell me his name again.
Last name is Reynoso, Reynoso, and the first name is Arturo, Aurtoro, Arturo. Or yeah.
Ah, there he is at the very bottom. Okay. Now we are on the record in 2023 TR 561. Arturo V. Reynoso, please announce appearances.
Jared Regier on behalf of the state.
May it please the court, Your Honor, Mark Davis appears in person at the Sallyport, and Mr. Arturo Reynoso is here as well via Zoom.
Is he in the Sallyport 2 or is he in Sallyport 1? Where is he? I can't see him.
Actually in Sallyport 2, Judge.
Can I have him step over there? Thank you. Okay, now I did have this gentleman on the interpreter docket at 1:30. Before we went on the record, Mr. Davis, you said you had a question or comment?
Correct, Judge. I'm here this morning as directed. My understanding is that we needed to be present for what we expect would be some processing booking. So we're here at 9 a.m. for that, only to discover from the deputy that that wasn't going to be possible anyway. So that's the reason for our in-person appearance. I didn't realize it was at 1, not 9 a.m. So that's why we're here. But my request is, could we appear as scheduled at 1:30 via Zoom? And then what follows would be, I suspect, booking that would have to be scheduled tomorrow or later since it's not possible anyway. So I'm just asking, can we reappear via Zoom since today he wouldn't have been booked and it would have to be scheduled, I understand, from speaking with the deputy here this morning.
Okay, deputy, if I order him to be processed today, is the jail going to disregard that order and violate that order?
Yes, they have nobody out there today.
So if he on his way home is stopped for DUI, there won't be anybody to process him and they'll send him on down the road again?
That would go through through actual booking. The processing that we schedule is through administration.
Well, I'm going to order that he be booked and processed today, as soon as this hearing is over. I suspect if Judge Rickey made that order, it would be honored. And I'm going to trust that if Judge Webster makes it, it will be honored. And I am, Mr. Davis, you're wanting some time to set this over by Zoom. Is that what you just said?
No, Your Honor, we have a 1:30 scheduled time today. We're on with an interpreter. So things are already set in place. I just didn't
Okay.
realize it wasn't at 9 a.m. So I
Okay.
still could schedule and appear via Zoom at
Okay.
1:30, Judge.
All right. So I'll see you gentlemen at 1:30 then on the interpreter docket.
Thank you. And thank you for taking us up, Judge. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Mr. Davis. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Mr. Regier?
before the court concludes this matter, my notes from the last hearing, the court had also reserved the issues of bond. I'm not sure if the court wants to take that up at the 1:30 setting or not.
Yes. Let's make a bond because I'm ordering him between now and 1:30. I want him booked. I'm going to make it a $1,000 bond. If that seems appropriate.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. I try really hard to work with the jail and let them set the schedules around their calendars, but every once in a while I have a unique situation and I would hope that they would want to cooperate as well.
They did show a willingness to work with us, Judge, to be accommodating. So thank you.
Certainly, thank you. All right, in recess on Reynoso. Who else do you have at the Sallyport, deputy? You said you had someone else come in?
Yes, I do. And her last name is Krugman.
Cassandra Krugman, bring her in.
Judge, we might end up having to actually arrest him in order to get it done through booking. We'll make a call and see if we can work it out the other way, but that's the difference. Booking does arrested people and the others don't.
Okay, I see. Two different departments I'm working with. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, anytime anybody breaks the law, we could arrest them and we could take them immediately in for processing. The ones that are on summons goes to a different department.
Okay, well, that helps me understand a lot why we sometimes have manpower and sometimes we don't. And-
No, it's not, we always have manpower for people that get arrested.
Okay, well, whatever I need to do, if I have to ask Mr. Regier's office to prepare a warrant, that's what we can do, but that seems,
All right.
maybe he could just borrow someone from the other department. But whatever we have to do, I want to get that taken care of. And Ms. Krugman, back to you. We're on the record in 2022 TR 4133, State of Kansas versus Cassandra Letitia Krugman. Jared Regier appearing for the state. Ms. Krugman, good morning.
How are you?
Ms. Krugman, I believe you failed to appear April 19th. So we need to have your first appearance. Count one, you're charged with having been operating a motor vehicle on December 19th, 2022 in Butler County, Kansas at the speed of 72 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone and operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. That charge is a Class B non-person misdemeanor. If convicted, you could look at a fine up to $1,000 and a possible jail sentence up to 6 months. Now, does she look like a diversion candidate, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, upon further review of the file, forgive me, it looks like this defendant would not be a good diversion candidate.
All right, so that's an option we don't have apparently. Ms. Krugman, you can enter, well, before you enter a plea, you do have the right to an attorney. Do you wish to hire an attorney? If you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply for court appointed, or you can waive your right to attorney and represent yourself. So how would you like to proceed on the issue of attorney?
I would like to waive my rights to an attorney.
Like to waive your rights to an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone making you do that by any kind of threats or promise?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll have the record by docket note and journal entry reflect that you have waived your right to attorney. Now, how do you want to plead? Your options would be one, you can plead not guilty and we'll set these for a trial a later date. And Mr. Regier will have the responsibility of bringing in evidence to try to prove it if he can beyond a reasonable doubt. And you can present evidence of your own if you want. You don't have to, but and it won't be held against you as far as any kind of admission. So option one is plead not guilty and set it for trial. Option two is to plead guilty and we'd proceed to sentencing today. Again, that's admitting you did it. And then your third choice would be to plead no contest. That means you don't admit you did this, but you don't want to deny it and set it for trial. You'd still most likely be found guilty though. The speeding charge is an infraction. It doesn't carry any jail time, just that scheduled fine of $45. Count two, operating without a valid license, is a B non-person misdemeanor. And it carries a fine anywhere up to $1,000 and a possible 6-month sentence, but those are the maximum extremes, not what's normally imposed. So do you have any questions about the charges?
No.
And now do you have an idea of how you want to plead among those three choices?
I'm going to plead no contest.
Okay, so you do not want to admit the two charges, but you don't want to deny them and take it to trial?
Correct.
Okay. Then I will need Mr. Regier to provide me a factual basis before I can accept those pleas. Do you have that, Mr. Regier?
I believe I do, Your Honor.
All right, would you please proceed?
Your Honor, it looks like the stop in this case occurred on December 19th of 2022 on US 54 at mile marker 248. My understanding is that is in the middle of Butler County, south of El Dorado, northwest of Leon, which I believe would give the court sufficient jurisdiction. Looks like the stop involved a 2008 Chevy Uplander. And it looks like the officer measured the defendant's speed at 72 in a 65 mile-hour zone using stalker radar. And going off the attached court comments, It reads, quote, expired ID card only, which I believe would provide a sufficient factual basis for both accounts.
And I find as well, so I do accept the defendant's plea and find Ms. Krugman guilty as charged. Ms. Krugman, have you never had a driver's license, or what was the situation?
No, I did have a driver's license. It just expired whenever I was living in California. And I have 3 kids, and it's really, you can't take them with you to take the driver's test. So after I turned 21 and it had expired after a year, you have to go take the driver's test. I've taken, just after that incident, I took my driver's test 4 times, and then I have to wait 6 months. So now I'm eligible to go try again,
Very good.
get my driver's license, but I just had a little bit of difficulty. But now my kids are in school, it's not really an issue. At the beginning, whenever all that had happened, like, it was a little bit difficult for me to make time to go. And that's not really an excuse, but that's my reason.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Regier, have you any recommendations for sentencing?
I do, Your Honor. For the speeding, the state would recommend the scheduled fine. I believe the court had already referred to that as $45. That would be my understanding as well. Under KSA 82118, so it would further recommend $108 court costs. For count 2, the no valid driver's license, it would recommend $100 fine, 120 days underlying, 12 months non-reporting probation. Additionally, I am showing that attached to the appearance bond. It looks like it's a 1,000 cash bond for today's date, July 5th at 9 a.m. It looks like there is a cash bond to be surrendered form with an indication, quote, I request a refund of the bond following approval by judge, and that bond appears to have a printed name of a third party. So I'm not sure how the court wants to address that.
All right, so I will at this time, Ms. Krugman, on count 1, assess a $45 fine. On count 2, a $100 fine. And court costs of $108 for a total due of $253. You will have a 120-day controlling jail sentence on count 2. You will not have to serve that jail time, provided you successfully complete a 6-month non-reporting probation, which means that for 6 months from today, you are not to violate any laws, state, city, federal, no laws, and you need to get the $253 paid. So do you need some time to get that paid, or are you able to pay that today?
Could you give me maybe like a couple weeks?
I could do that. Another option I have, if the person that posted your cash bond wanted to consent to it, you could take it out of the bond and have the remainder of the bond refunded.
No, I would like to take care of it myself because that's my uncle's money.
Okay, very well. All right, so I will give you, you said a couple of weeks, but I will give you 30 days at the most. If you have that paid within 30 days, you will have complied with one of 2 conditions of your probation. The first condition being that don't violate any law. The second condition being pay that within 30 days. If, Ms. Krugman, you do not pay that within 30 days, you could end up getting further problems with suspensions on your license, delaying it even further, and you could end up with the private collection agency coming after you and doing the same kind of things they would do if you didn't pay a credit card bill or something of that sort. So do you have any questions? Ms. Krugman, any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. And make sure you get the information from the deputy there where you need to pay that at the clerk of the district court or online.
Okay.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Regier?
Nothing from the state's perspective.
All right, then Ms. Craigman is excused and may go at this time.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Okay, I'm sorry, who's asking that?
Your Honor, this is Ray Armendariz and also County Attorney Regier. I have another meeting at 10 a.m. for an auction that I'm on. Could I please go in front of everybody so I get off this?
Are you the auctioneer?
I am the representative of the cattle that are selling.
All right, did you, give me just a moment, did you have someone else there at the Sallyport deputy, or was that it?
Excuse me, ma'am?
I was asking the deputies if there was
Oh.
anyone else there at the Sallyport. Deputy? Okay, let's take up. I'm sorry, it's Armendariz.
Yes, Ray Armendariz, ma'am. Your Honor,
I've got a Ray Dezel.
that's me.
Armendariz, okay, not Miguel Alfredo Armendariz Galinda. Okay, so, all right, we'll be on the, let's take up just the Armendariz without the hyphen behind it, Mr. Regier. Ray, how do you pronounce it? Ray Dezel? Ray Dezel?
It's Ray DeSalle.
Ray Dezel, okay.
Ray DeSalle, but all my friends call me Ray.
Great, okay. We're on the record in 2023 TR 1019, State of Kansas versus Ray
DeSalle.
DeSalle, Armendariz. Jared Regier for the state, the defendant, Mr. Armendariz, in person and pro se. Sir, you have one traffic infraction called improper passing on the right. This is, again, an infraction, and so it does not carry any jail time. A scheduled fine of $75 plus 108 court costs. The fact that you're here makes me think you want to enter a plea of not guilty and set this for trial. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Or do you want to, or I should say, do you want during now and the trial date to look into diversion? That's something you and the state can talk about if you're interested and see if you qualify. When will his trial date be, please, Ashley?
Our next trial is September the 13th.
At 1:30. So Mr. Armendariz, I presume Armendariz, does that work for you?
Ma'am, is that in person?
That can be by Zoom?
That'll be fine. It doesn't matter. You know, here's the deal, Your Honor. I drive like 50,000 miles a year, and an improper passing on the right-hand side is, I don't even understand what that means, but I do remember the situation
Well, let's
100%.
All right, do you have a commercial driver's license? Are you CDL holder?
Oh, no. I represent cattle all over the country. And
But you're not the truck driver, you're just the representative.
no, I'm not a truck
All
driver.
right, well, sir, I don't know if you know anything about diversion, but the county attorney has a program where if you qualify, and CDL holders do not, that's why I was checking. If you qualify, you can pay a fine, cost, a diversion fee, and they can dismiss it or will dismiss it. Yeah, but it has to be applied for and taken care of before trial. The unsafe passing, 18-57. I want to make sure you understand what you're accused of, since you said you didn't.
A hard one to find, isn't it, Your Honor?
Not really, I just have to turn the right pages. 8-1517, overtaking and passing when passing on the right. The driver of a vehicle may overtake and pass upon the right of another vehicle only under the following conditions. When the vehicle overtaking is making or about to make a left turn. So if you've got a guy making a left turn in front of you, you can pass on the right, it says. Or upon a roadway with unobstructed pavement or sufficient width for 2 or more lines of vehicles making lawfully in the direction being traveled by the overtaking of the vehicle. So in other words, when the guy in front of you is,
I was in front of the vehicle.
well, it says you got in front of him apparently by passing him on the right at a time when it wasn't safe. Or if you're passing a transit bus. And then B says, the driver of a vehicle may overtake and pass another vehicle upon the right only under the conditions permitting such movement in safety. Such movement shall not be made by driving off the roadway. And so, except as authorized under KSA 75, 50, 91, and amendments thereto. So those are one of you, they're alleging that you've done one of those things. You've either passed on the right under when you had to do one of those things. So
So,
does that help you understand any at all? The officer didn't explain it to you?
oh, Your Honor, I'm crystal clear, but here's the
Okay.
thing, here's the thing about it, Your Honor, is he was 2 vehicles behind.
He
Okay.
who?
The deputy was
The
2
deputy
vehicles
was 2
behind.
vehicles behind you?
Absolutely. So there was a semi in front of me or behind me, excuse me. That's
Okay,
how I
okay.
took the right. That's how I took the
All
right
right, well,
passage.
let me stop you there, please, not to be rude, but those are issues that we'll take up at your trial, the factual patterns.
That's fine.
Today, we just want to make sure that you understand what they're saying you did wrong. And they're saying that you violated one of those prongs of that statute I just went over. And you said you are crystal clear now what they are saying you did wrong?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, but you take issue with it, and that's certainly your right, and the burden will be on Mr. Regeer's office at trial to see if they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt you did violate one of those prongs. You have the right to present your evidence, as you started to do there, through your testimony, and you can bring any witnesses or other evidence you want to bring to trial. So what I will do is get a trial date, and when will that be, Ashley?
September the 13th.
All right, your bench trial will be September the 13th at 1:30. I'm sorry, I see you already gave that to us. And is there anything else we need to address? Of course, you can hire an attorney. I'm not able to appoint an attorney on an infraction because there's no threat of jail time, but you're always welcome to hire one. Anything else, Mr. Regeer, from the state?
Nothing from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
Mr. Armendariz, anything further from your side?
No, Your Honor, you've been very good to me. Thank you for letting me off
Thank you.
on this.
Thank you, sir. And this will
appointment.
be by Zoom if I didn't already say so.
Absolutely. And County Attorney
In
Regeer,
recess.
thank you very much.
You may go, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
And okay, we've got the attorneys taken care of. Is there anybody else in Sallyport 2?
Nobody here at Sallyport 2.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I am here now. I'm sorry it's late.
Oh, okay. Mr. Pate, you're here for who?
minute.
Who's your client, Mr. Pate?
For Mr. Rob, it's Tremaine Robinson.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that name.
It's Tremaine Robinson.
Oh, Robinson, okay. We are on the record in 2023 TR 1193, State of Kansas versus Tremaine J. Robinson, excuse me. The state appearing by and through Jared Regeer, Mr. Robinson appearing by Attorney Christopher Pate. Mr. Pate, is your client here?
No, Your Honor, I'm just appearing on his behalf.
All right, he is charged with one count of speeding 92 in a 75 mph zone. How does he wish to proceed at this time, Mr. Pate?
Your Honor, we'd just be requesting a trial date, and I think I heard September 13th, which would be fine with me.
Ashley, do we have time for another trial on that date?
Yes, we do.
And that's September 13th at 1:30. And Mr. Pate, that you said September 13th at 1:30 works for your schedule?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Regier, does that work for you?
No objection from the state, Your Honor.
Then that will be the order of the court. Anything further, Mr. Pate?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir. You are excused.
Thank you.
And now again, is there anyone else at the Sally Port?
Nope.
Okay.
We're getting, we got that other matters taken care of. They're on the way out to get processed.
I really appreciate that with the sheriff's
problem.
department, the jail. Thank you. I'll certainly make that the exception, the rare exception. All right, we are on the record in 3 cases. I'm going to call 3 names. I'm going to still take you up individually, but I want you all to pay attention. Miguel, 20 on the record in 2023, TR 157, State of Kansas versus Miguel Alfredo Armendariz Galindo. Jared Regier for the state is the defendant here.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, if I can maintain your attention for a bit, along with 2023 TR 441, State of Kansas versus Jolie Dawn, Derouen, Duran. Jared Regier for the state is Mr. Rowan here. Jolie Dawn, are you here? Jolie Dawn. Okay, I'm going to presume you failed to appear. Also on the record in 2023 TR 442, State of Kansas versus Vernon Harris Jr. Jared Regier for the state. Vernon Harris, are you here? (2023) TR 1529, State of Kansas versus Adonna K. Moore. Jared Regier for the state. Adonna K. Moore, are you here?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. And 2023 TR 1531, State of Kansas versus Danny Eugene Wise Jr. Jared Regier for the state. Mr. Wise, are you here? Okay, folks, the ones of you I just charged are called, you're all charged with driving while suspended. If this is your first driving while suspended without any prior convictions, you're looking at a Class B non-person misdemeanor. The fine is a minimum $100 up to $1,000 under Kansas law. And there is a potential jail sentence, 48 hours up to $100 on a first, or I'm sorry, 48 hours up to 6 months on a first offense, although probation is an option even on the first 48 hours if it's your first offense. Now, if you have a prior conviction for driving while suspended, your charge becomes a Class A non-person misdemeanor. The penalty could be up to a year in the county jail. Your fine could be up to $2,500. Additionally, if it's a prior conviction, you must serve 5 days in jail minimum. So let's start, and then let me also tell you that each of you has the right to an attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice. If you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. Or you can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. You have the right to plead not guilty to the charge and set the matter over for trial at a later date. You can plead guilty. That means you admit the charge and we can proceed with sentencing today. Or you can plead no contest. Now that means you don't admit the charge, but you don't deny it. And we will most likely find you guilty and proceed with sentencing today. If you don't have a prior driving while suspended conviction, you may be eligible for the state's diversion program. You'd have to pay a fine, cost, diversion fee, and probably get your license reinstated. But if you did what they asked you to, they would dismiss the charge and keep it off your record. If you're interested in their diversion, please write down the diversion coordinator's number. That's 316-321-6999. Call them and tell them you want to check into diversion. All right, let's start at this time with Miguel Alfredo Armendariz Galindo, and I believe, sir, you are here, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how would you like to proceed on the issue of an attorney for driving while suspended, a first conviction?
I actually have a court-appointed attorney for that matter, Your Honor. I have another case in Harvey County for the same thing that is stemming from a first case in Harvey County. I have the original case taken care of, and I am in contact with Driver Solutions to get my license reinstated.
Very good. Did you hire that attorney or did you say he was court-appointed?
Court-appointed, Your Honor.
All right, now, if you want an attorney in this case, you have to apply separately.
Separately? Okay.
All right. So are you employed at this time, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you work?
Linden Body Shop.
And can you tell me what you make per month?
I'll have to calculate it. Around $1,500 a month.
Okay. And are you married or single?
Single.
And you have children?
Yes, 2 children.
All right. I will appoint an attorney to represent you, but the attorney will be Darren, D-A-R-R-E-N, Patterson, traditional spelling, at 316-322-7700. Call him after the hearing and give him your contact information. We'll give you the next court date. Ashley, when will that be? On a Monday?
October the 16th.
You'll next need to appear by Zoom with Mr. Patterson, October 16th at 8 a.m. And I believe I'm going to need to have you make an appointment to get your picture and prints taken. That won't be today, but they'll set something up that'll work with both you and the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And so you'll need to go to the Sally Port in a breakout room when this is over. Your bond will be set at 1,000 OR. Mr. Regier, anything else that we need to address?
Nothing from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything from you, sir, Mr. Armendariz?
Yeah, we're actually in Louisiana right now, so I can't get to the Sally Court until next week. Is that going to be a problem at all?
I don't see that as a problem, but why don't you go to Sally Port 2 and talk to them and work that out if you would, please? Would that
Okay,
work?
and how do I get a hold of that?
The clerk Savannah is going to give you something on your screen that invites you to the breakout room and you just click on it and you'll be there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So Savannah, if you would please connect Mr. Miguel Armendariz and Sally Port 2. And if there's nothing further, we'll be in recess at this time.
Judge, what was that date you gave him?
I gave him October 16th at 8 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Then we'll move on to 2023 TR 441, Jolie Dawn Duran. Is Jolie still not here? There's some folks I see on the screen. I don't know your names. You just have things like iPhone 7 and Adonna's Galaxy. And if I don't know who you are, I can't give you credit for being here. There's someone that says iPhone. I don't know who iPhone is. I don't see a picture. But if I can't communicate with you, then I have to issue a warrant for your arrest. So Jolie, Derouen. Do we have service on that, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, my notes from the last April hearing indicated that my office was to issue an alias summons. Looks like that was filed with the court shortly thereafter on April 25th. I don't have a return of service, so I might respectfully inquire if maybe the court knows something I don't know.
Well, if you want to join me, Ashley, in looking at the record. I am not, okay, I see the alias was served, or not, that it was issued. But I don't see the return on it. Under documents specifically.
I don't show that we have a return either.
Thank you. I don't think we have a return, Mr. Regier, so I don't know what happened to that summons.
Your Honor, that being said, and given the time between today's hearing and the last hearing, if the court is prepared to proceed with a bench warrant, they would recommend 500 cash or surety.
$500 cash or surety bond will be set with a bench warrant.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And we will now take up Vernon Harris Jr. Did Mr. Harris appear? Vernon Harris Jr. That's the 2023 TR 442. Jared Regier still here for the state and Mr. Harris still not here. Mr. Harris had the driving while suspended. His was actually set for control. He said he was going to talk to the county attorney and he was on bond. Any information?
Your Honor, I do have a note in the file which would appear to indicate a diversion application was received by my office approximately 1 month ago on June 2nd. Nevertheless, the fact that the defendant does not appear today, and my understanding is that diversion agreement has not been filed with the court at this time, does cause the state significant concern. I'll defer to the court as how it wishes to proceed. It looks like at the last April 26th hearing, my notes indicate the court will set bond at 1,000 OR. If the court is prepared to issue a bond forfeiture bench warrant, state would recommend 2,000 cash or surety.
I'm inclined to issue a bond forfeiture bench warrant with the new bond set at $2,000 cash or surety required. And then we will move on to Adonna K. Moore. And I think Miss Moore is here. Yes. Can you hear me, Miss Moore? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you have, and Mr. Regier still here for the state in 23 TR 1529. Miss Moore, you have not only the driving while suspended that I went over with, but also a charge of speeding 70 and a 55. That's an infraction, no jail time. It carries a scheduled fine of $75 in addition to what we talked about as penalties for driving while suspended. Would you like some time to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, apply for diversion?
So I have been speaking to an attorney and he was going to appear with me today, but I didn't get with him last week. And because I honestly, I forgot that I had court until Monday of this week. So I hadn't been able to talk to him recently. I will say that my driver's license, in the meantime, has been reinstated by the state. I didn't realize it was suspended when I got pulled over. He brought that to my attention when it happened. And it was, unpaid tickets. So I paid everything. So for the the reason my license was suspended, I did go ahead. That is all taken care of currently. And
Excuse me, but your answer to my question, do you want to hire an attorney?
I don't know. I'm not sure really what to do.
Well, I will certainly give you time to hire your attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for court appointed. Or you can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. You can ask for time to apply for the diversion, which, as I said, if you paid your fines and costs and a diversion fee and you already have your license reinstated, they might dismiss the charges against you. But that's your call, and I'll be happy to give you time to do whichever you want to do.
I would like to try with the diversion program.
Okay.
I would rather get it taken off if I can.
All right, and you can, I'll give you some time to either, you can still talk to your attorney further about it, or you can apply for diversion. But if you're going to apply for diversion, call the county attorney. I would suggest today at that 316-321-6999. And do what they tell you to do. Get the application in. Don't put it off, because I'm going to set this over 90 days. And that's so long that I expect you to have everything taken care of. You need time to take care of. So that date again is.
You want a Monday or Wednesday, Judge?
Let's go with the Wednesday for now.
September the 20th.
All right, September 20th at 9 a.m. Either have your diversion signed. That means you have to apply, get the contract back in, pay your amount that they want. Otherwise, you'll have to be here September 20th at 9 a.m. So you have to be back here September 20th at 9 a.m. unless the county attorney tells you you've fulfilled all the things they need you to at that time for diversion.
Okay.
All right. Don't wait till the week before to start applying.
No.
You need to start applying this week.
I'll do it today.
All right. Okay. So you've got your court date. You're applying for diversion. You've got time to talk to an attorney or apply for one if you need to. Mr. Aguirre.
Your Honor, I believe one of the pending charges in this case is a Class B, and this does appear to be the first hearing on this date. I would also maybe request some clarification from the court whether the defendant is waiving her right to counsel at this time. My understanding is that my office did receive contact from an attorney approximately 3 months ago, but I do not believe a formal entry of appearance has been filed in this case.
Okay, well, that's something they want clarification on. At this point, are you going to hire that attorney, or are you going to, at this point, waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself?
I mean, right at the moment, I would say I would waive my right. If I can do the diversion program, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
If something were to come up and I couldn't do the diversion program, I would rather hire an attorney. But if I can do the diversion program, I would waive my right.
All right, that all is fine. You're waiving your right to an attorney then, and you're doing that without any threats or promises?
Yes.
Okay. I will have the record reflect at this time, Mr. Aguirre and Ashley, that she is waiving her right to counsel and that she is doing so freely and voluntarily. And yes, you certainly can't always change your mind on that.
Okay.
That's not a problem. And you have your court date. Do we need to set a bond for this?
My understanding is that there is one Class B currently before the court, Your Honor.
Okay. So you'll need to have your picture and prints taken. I'll set $1,000 OR bond, and you will need to go into the Sally Port when you see the invitation on the breakout screen to set up a
Okay.
time to do that.
Okay.
All right, if there's nothing further, we will be in recess at this time. And Miss Moore is excused, but stick around and click on the Sally Port and then
Okay.
stick around and call the diversion coordinator.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we are on the record in 2023 TR 153, State of Kansas versus Danny Eugene Wise Jr. Jared Regier still here for the state. Mr. Wise, are you here? Looks like Mr. Wise fails to appear. Recommendations, if any, council?
Your Honor, it looks like going off of the return of service on the summons, there was residential tack down service approximately 2 months prior to today's hearing on May 8th. Given that there is one Class B currently before the court, the state would respectfully request a bench warrant 500 cash assuring.
Bench warrant will issue. Bond will be set at 500 cash or surety. We are on the record in 2023 TR 1467, State of Kansas versus Jaden Laree Preston. Jared Regier for the state. Jaden Preston, are you here? Jaden Preston. Jaden Preston fails to appear on driving while suspended in 84 and a 70. Mr. Regier for the state. Recommendations?
Your Honor, it looks like an alias summons was previously issued in this case. I am showing return of service indicating residential service at an individual named Jesse at 13:26 hours on May 23rd of 2023. That being said, and since there are multiple charges in this case, including what appears to be a Class A driving while suspended under 8262, the state would respectfully request bench warrant 1,500 cash or surety.
Bench warrant will be issued. Bond set at 1,500 cash or surety. We'll now be on the record in 2023 TR 1400, State of Kansas versus Christina Marie Roberts. Jared Regier still for the state. Miss Roberts, are you here? Christina Roberts.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss Roberts. All right. You're charged with driving while suspended as well in count 2, as well as speeding 76 and a 55 in count 1. Did you hear me go over the penalties for the driving while suspended with the group?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right, and your count 1 is an infraction, no jail time involved. The scheduled fine is $105. Now, Mr. Regier, that speeding would put her outside your guidelines for diversion, would it not?
One moment, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, upon further review of the case, it would appear this defendant would not qualify for diversion.
All right, so Ms. Roberts, that gives you those options we talked about of pleading not guilty and setting it for trial, pleading guilty and going ahead with sentencing, pleading no contest, not admitting or denying, but still most likely found guilty and proceeding with sentencing. Before you enter your plea, do you want to talk to an attorney?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to. I've actually been trying to get a hold of one and I haven't gotten a phone call back.
Are you able to hire an attorney then?
I'm going to try to. If I find out I'm not going to be able to afford it, then I would like to try to apply for a court appointed if I could, please.
Okay, now you can either apply today or you and still proceed to hire, Or if you try to hire, then you can call the court and can't. You can call the courthouse and get an application turned in, but do that as soon as you can. Which way do you want to go? Do you want to apply today or?
Yes, ma'am. I'll apply today if that's okay. That way that taken out of the way in case, just in case.
Okay, are you employed?
I am now. I'm starting on Monday.
Okay, how long have you been unemployed?
My contract job was up in April.
Okay, and what job are you starting on Monday?
It's a work from home job.
And how much are you going to make per month? Do you know?
It's 25 an hour. They haven't given me the set hours yet though, so I don't know if it's going to be a full-time or part-time.
All right. Well, I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to appoint Darren Patterson, Darren, traditional spelling at 316-322-7700. But
Okay.
if that becomes full-time, I'm going to expect you to be able to pay his rates without court-appointed rates. So let's put her on a Monday, please, 8 a.m. on a Monday.
October the 16th.
8 a.m. October 16th. You'll need to be back here by Zoom with Mr. Patterson or your hired attorney.
Okay.
And does she need to be processed? It looks like maybe.
Your Honor, I'm showing this defendant does appear on a summons.
Okay, so you're going to need to go into the breakout room and get a picture and print date set. Your bond will be 1,000 OR. Anything else, Mr. McGear?
Now, from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Roberts?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome, and you may go. But go into breakout room. Savannah, if you would, Ms. Christina Roberts and Sally Portsey. And we're on 2023 TR 1528, State of Kansas versus Patricia L. Shealy. Jared Regier for the state. Ms. Shealy, are you here? Ms. Shealy fails to appear. Recommendations, counsel?
Your Honor, in reviewing the return of service on the summons, it looks like there was personal service approximately 2 months ago on May 2nd. State would recommend 500 cash or surety minimum since there is at least one Class B currently pending in this case.
I will issue bench warrant with 1,000 cash or surety. Nothing further on Shealy. We'll move ahead to Taroni's 2023 TR 1865, State of Kansas versus Jesse Lewis Taroni's with Jared Regier for the state. Mr. Taroni's, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, sir.
I was moving to my car because I needed to put my phone on the charger.
All right, understood. Did you get it on there? You need a moment?
Yeah, nope, yep, I'm good now.
All right, sir. Okay, were you here when I was talking about the rights and charges?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna try to hire a lawyer.
Okay. Now, if you find out you can't, you need to apply, contact the court and do that as soon as you need to. You're one of those folks that is a prior conviction alleged, which means there's the mandatory 5 days jail.
Yes.
I'm going to enter a not guilty plea.
Okay.
And we're going to set this at 9 a.m. on a Monday. And what Monday do you have for that, Ashley?
October the 16th.
All right, so you'll need to be back here Monday, October 16th at 9 a.m. by Zoom with your attorney. And it looks like you're on bond, so I will continue that bond. Anything else, Mr. Regier, on this matter that we need to take up?
From the state's perspective, Your Honor.
Mr. Taroni's, anything else?
Nope. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. You're excused at this time. You may go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Lillian Fuson will take you up next, 2022 TR 3735, State of Kansas versus Lillian Maya Fuson. State by Jared Regier, Ms. Fuson in person and pro se. Ms. Fuson, this is a pay or appear. You've already been convicted and indicated that you thought you could have your matter paid for by today. Were you unable to do that?
Pay it in full.
Yeah, I was unable to pay it in full.
All right, so you need some more time to pay, or?
Yeah.
I could just turn this over to collections. Now they would add a fee to it. And if you didn't pay with them, they would go after you like a private collection agent, but we could do that if you want.
Whatever's best for you and the court.
It's,
Just whatever's best for.
Why don't I give you, how much time do you think you need to pay?
A couple months.
All right, I'm going to give you 60 days to pay. 60 more days. If you, I'm not going to give you another pay or appear date, though. I'm going to hold you to that. And if you don't have it paid in 60 days, it will go to collections. Your license will get suspended and you'll have a collection agent coming after you. And if you had any jail time ordered, you could end up getting your probation revoked and serve that. So I'm giving you 60 extra days, but make sure you get it paid, or those are your consequences. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, if the court is ordering no additional hearing date, just that the case shall go to collections if not paid in full within 6 days, my office is satisfied.
Very well. Then we are in recess and you may go, Ms. Fuson.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Will now be on the record in Goncalves, 2023 TR 1424, State of Kansas versus McKenna Elise Goncalves or Calvis. Are you here?
I am.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Gonsalves.
Gonsalves?
Yeah, to be honest, we're not really sure, so we just kind of made it up.
Okay, works for me, Gonsalves. All right, Jared Regier for the state, Ms. Gonsalves in person. You're here, it looks like on one count of 76 and a 55 called speeding. It's a $114 fine with $108 court costs. No jail time as it is an infraction. Are you here because you'd like a trial date?
No, I called the diversion office and I don't think I qualify. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and pay the ticket.
All right, and do you need time to pay it or are you going to pay it today?
Could I maybe have like a week?
Okay. So you're wanting to enter a plea of guilty to the speeding 76 and the 55?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we'll enter a plea of guilty and I'm going to give you 30 days to pay. If you don't have it paid though, in that 30 days, it'll go to collections, collection agent, get your license suspended. Okay. All right. So that will be the order of the court on that. And nothing further.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Just for the partially for edification of the court, it would appear that the stop occurred at 5000 Southwest Ohio in Augusta. I believe that would be sufficient as far as establishing jurisdiction is concerned. I'm assuming the court is ordering the scheduled fine of $114 plus the 108 court costs. I would respectfully request the court make a determination on the record whether the defendant is waiving right to counsel, as well as leave the court to include that in the journal entry.
Ms. Gonzalez, I can't appoint an attorney because it's an infraction, but did you want to have some time to hire an attorney, or did you want to waive your right to an attorney?
I'd like to waive my right to an attorney.
And is anyone making you do this today by any kind of threat or promise?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then I will have the record reflect that you did knowingly and voluntarily waive your right to an attorney. And anything further, Mr. McGeer?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right, then you may go, Miss Gonsalves.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. You're welcome. And let's see, we took care of Mr. Robinson through Mr. Pate. Let's take Elizabeth Ward on the record in 2022, TR 3918, State of Kansas versus Elizabeth J. Ward. Is Miss Ward here?
I'm present.
Okay. Miss Ward, you're charged with one count of operating a motor vehicle without proof of insurance. That's in 2022 TR 3918, State of Kansas versus Elizabeth J. Ward with Mr. Regier for the state. Miss Ward, if you had proof of insurance when the officer stopped you but just couldn't find it, you could provide proof of that to the county attorney and he may dismiss the charge. Statute gives you 10 days to turn that in and it shall be dismissed. After the 10 days, it's discretionary, but most prosecutors still dismiss it. If you did not have insurance at the time of the stop, you're looking at a B non-person misdemeanor. And that means you could pay a fine anywhere from at least $300 up to $1,000. And you could pay a jail or serve a jail sentence up to 6 months, although probation is an option. And diversion, does it look like maybe is an option, Mr. Regier?
No, I can't take diversion. I've had this before. I did not have proof of insurance. I thought I did. I was unaware that it lapsed a week before. I did get insurance after. It did suspend my license. I am on a restricted. I am currently pregnant with twins. I am due in 4 months. So if I could possibly go ahead and take the fine, and pay the reinstatement fee, it's $125 reinstatement fee. I have been in contact with, the Driver Solutions about it. And then, they said it's going to cost me $125 to reinstate my license and then whatever the fines are. But if I could possibly get on a pay arrangement over a couple course of months, that would be greatly appreciated. I did call my insurance company because I was unaware that my paydays didn't fall in the way that I needed them to.
Okay.
And I still have to prepare for these twins and I'm doing it alone. So it's quite expensive.
Well, congratulations on your twins. And let's look at these charges a little bit. I've told you what would happen on a first offense. If you've had a prior conviction, or if you have a prior conviction after this for driving while suspended, the second one becomes an A misdemeanor and a fine of $800 up to $2,500. The jail sentence could be up to a year. Now, as I see it now, you're charged with a B misdemeanor. So are you wanting to waive your right to an attorney? You certainly have.
Yes.
Okay. You understand you can hire any attorney of your choice. And if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if one can be appointed.
I'm gonna go ahead and waive my rights and pay the fine.
Is anyone making you do this by any kind of
No.
threat or promise? All right.
No.
Then Ashley and Mr. Regier, the record and journal or docket notes need to reflect that she's knowingly and voluntarily waiving her right to counsel. And how do you wish to plead? Reminding you can plead not guilty and set it for trial at a later date, guilty, admitting it, and proceed with sentencing, or no contest, neither admitting it or denying it. Okay. And is anyone making you enter this plea of guilty today by any kind of
No.
threat or promise? You understand you're giving up your right to a trial and your right to
Yes.
appeal conviction? Okay. So tell me in your own words what you did. I think you already basically have. You drove a vehicle in Butler County without proof of insurance?
Yes, I was unaware. Like I said, I lapsed a week prior to that to being pulled over. So, and I did, as soon as my payday hit, I did get insurance on my vehicle.
Did they retroactively apply it to the time of the stop?
No, because I thought I had it, and normally they send it through my email. And I did pull it up, or I was trying to pull it up, but I had screaming kids in the back of the car. So the officers, yeah, he was very generous on letting me get to their mom, because their mom got pulled over and I had to go get her out of jail. So in Winfield in Cali County, and it was just a little bit of a stressful drive.
Okay, and this happened November 12th of 2020?
Yes.
And where did you say you got pulled over?
I was in Butler County lines, but I was on my way to Winfield, Cali County.
So you were driving in Butler County and on 77?
I believe so.
The one that comes out of Augusta and hooks to Winfield?
I think I was like right before, I don't think it pulls off to Augusta. I think it pulls off to, I know it's like if you take Andover Road, Rose Hill, it was right before that Rose Hill turnoff.
Okay, Mr. Regier, I'll bet you have that exact address.
I do, Your Honor. According to the ticket, it looks like the stop occurred on the 20,000 block of Southwest Butler Road. My understanding is that is just south of Rose Hill, certainly within the confines of Butler County. As far as the issue of diversion is concerned, I don't have any notes on that point, nor am I aware of any reinstatement fees, which I believe the defendant had previously alleged to. Nevertheless, my understanding is that this particular offense is a strict liability offense.
Okay, so accepting the defendant's plea of guilty, recommendations for sentencing, Mr. Regier?
All
Your
of my other charges are over 5 years old.
Okay.
Your Honor, on the sole count of no proof of insurance as a Class B non-person misdemeanor, the state would recommend a $300 fine, $108 in court costs, 120-day underlying sentence, and 6 months of non-reporting probation.
All right, Ms. Wood, anything else you want to say before I pronounce your sentence?
So I just want to make it clear I'm on the non-reporting probation until the fines are paid off.
Well, I haven't said that yet. I was giving you a
Okay.
chance to say any recommendations you might have. All right, your fine will be $300. That's the minimum allowed by law. Your court costs are $108 for a total due of $408. You are given 120 days suspended jail sentence. That means you will not have to serve the 120 days if for 6 months you are successful on a non-reporting probation. You will not have to see a probation officer, but for 6 months you are on probation with 2 conditions. Don't violate any laws. And that includes, if you're going to drive, you have to have a valid license, valid insurance, and a valid tag on your car. Even if it's not yours, you're responsible for knowing that those things exist before you drive it. And how long do you need to pay the 408?
Let's see, I got the 408. The total amount of this fine is 408.
That's what I'm showing, finding costs for.
If you can give me till about December, just because of I have to get for these twins and I don't have a whole lot of stuff. I just found out June 21st of what the genders are. So that I need to I need at least till December to be able to do like a pay arrangement with this fine. Because I also have that 125 reinstatement fee because I am on a restricted, so I can get to and from court, to and from doctor's appointments.
And that 122 will be added in with our fines and fees.
Okay, I don't usually go that far, but if I go that far, will you be making monthly payments?
Yes, I will. And another reason why I'm trying to push at least for December, if there is another hearing, is only because there's a possibility, because it's twins, that I can go anywhere in October, but no later than November the 2nd. So I don't want to miss court. I've had that happen to me before for delivery. So if I could just have that time, it should be enough time for me. I'm on a fixed income.
Okay.
And I still have to pay bills and provide for 5 kids.
5 kids, counting the twins?
Yes, I have 3 others.
Okay. Mr. Regier, any objection to setting this over to early December?
Your Honor, that is quite an extensive,
My
for this
income's
case
only,
being-
my income, I only get SSI. That's why I still have to pay my rent. I still have to, provide for my children and pay this fine.
Your Honor, if I may finish.
Please. Yes, please.
That, as I was saying, that is quite a further along pay date. Nevertheless, I don't think the state would have any recommendations or any objections rather. I would request the court make a ruling that the case shall go to collections at that time if the case is not paid in full. I'm assuming the court wants the $122 of reinstatement fees be added to the journal entry. Additionally, my understanding is that this is the first hearing on this case, and it looks like the defendant is pleading to a Class B. So I believe there is a booking requirement here.
All right. Ms. Ward, I'm going to go ahead and give you the request. It'll be due 150 days, which I think will be about December 5th. What day of the week is that? Let's take a look.
Now, Judge, if I did apply for Section 8, so there is a possibility that I could have it paid sooner than that, but I don't have my Section 8 housing just yet. So I'm just doing safe precaution for myself.
I'll give you till December 5th to have that paid in full. I would urge you to make payments as you go because it's going to be a lot to hit you if you don't. To December 5th, if it's not paid at that time, your license is most likely going to be suspended and it will go to collection. So you'll have a collection agent coming after you. So any questions about any of that? It could also be a violation of your probation. And remember that for 6 months, you have 2 things you have to do to keep from having to serve your jail time. You have to violate no laws of any kind, and you have to get that paid by December 5th.
Yes.
Okay. And you do have to make arrangements, go out and get your picture and prints taken. So when this hearing is over, there won't be a bond because she's already been convicted. But go into Sallyport 2 and make an appointment to get your picture and prints taken. And I'm going to make that an extra condition of probation that if you don't, that could get you revoked.
Okay.
So keep that appointment, get your monies.
Now,
paid.
I live in Sedgwick County. Is it possible that I can go ahead? No, I have to go to Butler. Okay.
Yeah, where the charges are.
Okay.
All right, so look for that invitation. Savannah, if you would please give Miss Ward and Sallyport 2 a breakout room.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I would I would again respectfully request clarification from the court as to whether it wants the $122 reinstatement fees include the journal entry. As I would also respectfully request leave the court to journalize that if the case is not paid in full by December 5th of this year, that the case will go to collections.
Yes, please, on both counts.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. We'll go to Amy Baker on the record in 2023 TR 413, State of Kansas versus Amy Baker. Jared Regier for the state, defendant Amy Baker in person and pro se. Ms. Baker, you're charged with operating a motor vehicle without or after having been declared an habitual violator. This is a Class A non-person misdemeanor. If convicted, you could pay a fine up to $2,500. You could serve a year in the county jail. Any question about that?
Nope.
All right. Do you want to talk to an attorney before we proceed further?
Yeah,
Do you want to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
court appointed.
Are you employed?
Not at the moment.
How long have you been unemployed?
4 months.
And are you married or single?
Single.
Any children?
Yeah, I have one.
All right. You don't have any income to speak of?
Nope. Not at the moment.
I'm going to appoint attorney Darren Patterson, Darren Patterson, traditional spelling at 316-322-7700. And Ashley, his next date will be 8 a.m. on Monday. What date?
October the 16th.
Okay, you must be back here by Zoom with Attorney Patterson, 8 a.m. Monday, October 16th. You're required to call him after this hearing and immediately after and give your contact information. I believe you're already on bond, and I will continue the bond on the conditions that you call Mr. Patterson after this hearing and that you reappear by Zoom with him 8 a.m. October 16th. Anything further, Mr. Regier?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Ms. Baker, anything further?
No, ma'am.
Then you may go. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll now be on the record in 2023 TR 124, State of Kansas versus Alexandria L. Barber. Jared Regier for the state. Ms. Barber, are you here?
Yes.
Alexandria Barber, you also, as a lady before you, have one count of operating a motor vehicle without insurance. Do you want to apply for diversion, provide proof of insurance, or apply for an attorney?
Just plead no contest.
You don't want to look into diversion and try to keep it off your record?
No, ma'am.
You don't want to talk to an attorney? You can hire any attorney, and if you cannot afford one, you can apply and see if you qualify for court appointed.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Is anyone making you waive your right to attorney today by any kind of threat or promise?
No.
Then I will have the record reflect, both in docket notes and journal entry, that you are knowingly and voluntarily waiving your right to an attorney. You said you do not want to look into diversion. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you can plead either guilty, admitting it, proceed to sentencing, not guilty, setting it for trial, or no contest, neither admitting or denying, but you'd still be found guilty. And how do you wish to plead?
No contest.
Is anyone making you enter this no contest plea by any kind of threats or promise?
No.
You understand that if I accept the no contest plea, you will not be able to appeal the conviction and you will be found guilty.
Yes.
But you won't have a trial.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Regier, have you a factual basis to support a no contest plea?
Your Honor, it looks like the stop in this case occurred on November 12th of last year. The stop occurred on Southwest Santa Fe Lake and Southwest 64th. It looks like it involved a 2016 Chevy, and the officer specifically noted in the attached officer's notes quote, expired insurance per insurance verification.
I will find the defendant guilty. Recommendations, Mr. Regier.
Your Honor, on the sole count of no proof of insurance, the state would recommend a $300 fine, 120 days underlying sentence, $108 in court costs, and 6 months of non-reporting probation.
And what'd you say on the sentence?
120 days underlying, 6 months non-reporting.
All right. Miss Barber, anything you want to say about your sentence before I pronounce it?
No, ma'am.
Then your fine is the minimum required by law of $300 and 108 court costs, 120 days suspended sentence. You will not have to serve that, provided for 6 months. You violate no laws and you pay the 408. When can you pay that?
Can I have a month?
I will give you 30 days to pay that. If it's not paid, it will go to collections and you could be in violation of your probation and you could have a collection agent come after you as well as further suspension of your license. So make sure 30 days will do it. You need a little more, will that do it?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Anything further, Mr. Regier?
One moment, Your Honor.
Processed. Looks like you appear on a summons, so you'll have to go into Sallyport 2 and get processed. You won't have to make a bond since you've been convicted, but you do need to set up a time to get your picture and prints taken. So when we're through, look out for the invitation to the breakout room and click on that. Mr. Regier, anything further?
I'm assuming the court wants the journal entry to reflect that the defendant shall report for booking and processing. And one other matter which I had neglected to mention, my understanding is that the stop did occur in an area between Andover and Augusta, south of Towanda and Benton, certainly within the confines of Butler County.
Thank you, Mr. Regier. That is noted. All right, if there's nothing further, we'll be in recess and please go into the breakout room, Ms. Barber, when Savannah puts that on your screen. We'll now be on the record in Belmont. That's 2023 TR 1530. State of Kansas versus Noble Adam Belmont. Jared Regier for the state. Mr. Belmont, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Belmont, in count one, you're accused of improper display of a tag, $50 fine up to $2,500, 30 days up to 6 months on this Class C misdemeanor. Do you want to look into the diversion on this or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll enter a not guilty plea and we'll set this for what dates, Ashley?
September the 20th.
September 20th at 9 a.m. If you're not diverted, you'll need to be back here at that time, Mr. Belmont.
All righty.
Please call the county attorney at 316-321-6999 as soon as this hearing is over so you can get started on that application.
Let me get that correct. That was 321-6999.
Yes, and because this is not an A or B misdemeanor, you don't have to get your picture and prints taken.
All right.
And I'm not going to set a bond. You may go at this time unless Mr. Regier, is there anything further?
I do not believe so, Your Honor, and that was September 18th for the review hearing.
I put September 20th. Is that what you said, Savannah?
September the 20th.
Okay, September the 20th.
Very good, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, we will now be on the record in 2022 TR 4239, State of Kansas versus London to Shell Cooley. Jared Regier for the state. Ms. Cooley, are you here? Ms. Cooley fails to appear.
Judge.
Yes.
I'm not sure. She might be in custody. I believe she is on the first appearance docket today, but I don't know if she bonded out or is in custody for that. On a different case, a brand new case.
A brand new case. Traffic case, or do you know?
I am not sure.
She has a very poor track record in numerous cases with the court. I will say that.
Your Honor, one moment. Your Honor, my understanding is that this defendant is on for first appearances this afternoon in 23 CR 250. I am showing that at least in this current case, there was a bond entered for today's date and time. Looks like it's a professional surety for 1,500. I'll defer to the court as to how it wishes to proceed. If the court is comfortable ordering a bond forfeiture bench warrant at this time, the state would recommend 3,000 cash or surety, but again, I'll defer to the court on that one.
But I'll tell you what, I don't know if your office could get a bench warrant done in time to get her in front of the judge at 1:30, but do you think that's possible, Mr. Regier, where we could do that's pushing it too much. I'll go ahead and issue a bench warrant, bond forfeiture, and you said 3,000, Mr. Regier?
That would be the recommendations seen as in light of the prior appearance bond entered.
That'll be the order of the court. Ms. Cooley does not come to court very often on these. Okay, so that's the order. Bench warrant, bond forfeiture, 3,000 cash or surety. Will now be on the record in 2019 TR 1225, State of Kansas versus Eric Evans. Jared Regier for the state. Eric Evans, are you here? There's someone on a red screen, Samsung SM, something or other. I don't know who you are. If you're Eric Evans, are you Eric Evans? Nope. Okay. Eric Evans fails to appear on his bond recommendations. Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, it would appear that a bond was previously entered in this case. It appears to be for 1,000. It's somewhat difficult to determine whether it is cash or professional surety, but in any event, the state would recommend 2,000 cash or surety bond forfeiture bench warrant.
His bond is already set at 2,000?
My understanding, Your Honor, is that the bond for today's hearing is for 1,000. The state would recommend it for 2,000 cash or surety, and the appearance bond I have in the file does indicate for an appearance shall appear before the district court for Butler on July 5th, 2023 at 9 a.m.
All right. Bond forfeiture bench warrant issued, new bond set at 2,000 cash or surety. Will now be on the record in 2023 TR 1399, State of Kansas versus Caitlin Rochelle Fisher. Jared Regier for the state. Caitlin Fisher, are you here? Caitlin Fisher fails to appear on 97 and 65 and TOC because of the charges. Doesn't look like she's probably on bond. Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, it looks like the summons was served in this case. Looks like approximately 2.5 months ago by residential service to a third party. At this point, given that the state would recommend a bench warrant, 1,000 cash or surety, since there are multiple charges in this case.
Okay, I think in this instance, she's looking at an infraction 97 and 65 and transporting an open container, a misdemeanor with the maximum $200 fine. Is that what you're showing, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, my understanding is that pursuant to the April 12th information, count 2 is charged as an unclassified non-person misdemeanor. I appreciate the recommendations. I'm going to issue a clerk's letter of suspension on this one in lieu of a warrant, Mr. Regier. I certainly could issue a warrant. That's not an unreasonable request, but I'm going to go with the clerk's letter of suspension. Very good, Your Honor.
Thank you. On the record, and I'm going to call a couple of you, I believe. Let me see. All right. The last name is Aguirre. Are you here, Aguirre, Miguel Garcia Aguirre? All right, let's go on the record in 2023, TR 1466, State of Kansas versus Miguel A. Garcia Aguirre. The state by Jared Regier is the defendant, Mr. Garcia Aguirre, present. Defendant fails to appear on no driver's license, a Class B misdemeanor. Recommendations, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, I'm showing that a summons was filed with the court back in April. I don't have any information as far as a return of service is concerned. I might respectfully request the court's clarification on that.
My screen is glitching. I don't know if you show anything on that. Ashley?
Let me look real quick.
Thank you.
Looks like we have a return that shows residential tack down on 4/27.
Bench warrant will issue $1,000 cash or surety bond required. Further, we'll be in recess on that matter. Will now be on the record in 2023 TR 1627, State of Kansas versus Braxton Michael Herbert. Jared Regier for the state. Is Mr. Herbert here? Defendant failing to appear. He is on bond. Recommendations, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, I'm showing that that there was personal service back in May on this case. I am not showing a bond in this case. Perhaps the court knows something that I do not know.
Well, this is what I took down last week, and frankly, my computer is not cooperating with me, so I can't get into it to see. So.
In lieu of that, Your Honor, if the court is prepared to issue another bench warrant, the state would respectfully request that $1,500 would be a minimal amount, seeing as they're all in multiple charges, including one Class B.
Bench warrant will issue, bond will be set at $1,500 cash or surety. And Mr. Regier, if you do show up that a bond forfeiture is appropriate, I'd issue that as well.
Very good, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll now be on the record in 2023 TR 1864, State of Kansas versus Blake Neal Johnson. Mr. Johnson, are you here? Blake Neal Johnson failing to appear on driving while suspended and license plate not assigned to vehicle. Recommendations, Mr. Regier? Mr. Regier for the state, Blake Johnson not answering, so I assume he's not here.
Your Honor, I am showing an appearance bond in this case. Looks like it was professional surety with AMAMA bail bonds for today's date. Given that, state would respectfully suggest bond forfeiture bench warrant, $2,000 cash or surety.
Bond forfeiture bench warrant issued with bond set at $2,000 cash or surety. Will now be on the record in 2023 TR 349, State of Kansas versus Nikki Lynn Juliette Leduc. Jared Regier for the state. Nikki Leduc, are you here? Nikki Leduc failing to appear on speeding 90 to 75, driving while suspended, and no registration or license plate. Mr. Regier for the state. Recommendations for Nikki Leduc's failure to appear.
Your Honor, I am showing that a summons was filed back in April. I don't have any return of service on that, so I might respectfully request some clarification on that. If the court is prepared to proceed with a bench warrant at this time, however, the state would respectfully suggest 1,500 cash or surety would be appropriate in light of the specific facts and the charges in this case.
Bench warrant will issue, bond set at 1,500, cash or surety required. Mr. Regier, if you determine that bond was issued, forfeiture would be appropriate.
Very good, Your Honor.
On the record in 2023 TR 169, State of Kansas versus Cesar or Cesar Ibarra Lira. State by Jared Regier. Mr. Lira, are you here? Ibarra Lira. Defendant failing to appear on no driver's license. The incident occurring back on January 10th of 2023. Recommendations, Mr. Regier.
Your Honor, my understanding is that there was service on this case. Looks like going off the return residential tack down approximately 2.5 months ago on April 26th of this year. Since there is one Class B in this case, they would respectfully suggest 1,000 cash or surety bench warrant.
Bench warrant will issue. Bond is set at $1,000 cash or surety. Will now be on the record in 2023 TR 1381, State of Kansas versus Jessica Michelle Medlem. Jared Regier for the state. Miss Medlem, are you here? And you are. Very good.
Yes, I am.
Miss Medlin, in count one, you're charged with transporting an open container of alcohol in a moving vehicle. This carries a fine up to $200 and a jail sentence up to 6 months. This is an unclassified or C misdemeanor. In count two, you're accused of operating a moving vehicle or riding in an open moving vehicle without a seat belt. This carries a $30 fine, no jail time. You do have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. You could apply for court appointed. You could waive your right to attorney and represent yourself, or you could apply for the state's diversion program. If you qualify, you could do certain terms and they would dismiss the charge or charges.
I would like to try to apply for diversion.
Very well. I will indicate that you're going to apply for diversion. We'll set this over. Make sure you get right on that. Do not delay. And Michelle, when do you want her to come back?
September the 20th.
September the 20th at 9 a.m. You must be back here unless you have completed the diversion. But again, get that done. Do not wait. Any questions?
Yes, no, ma'am.
Anything further, Mr. Regier?
Your Honor, Your Honor, I respectfully withdraw that last comment. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Regier. Will now be on the record in 2023 TR 1537, State of Kansas versus Christopher Michael Payne. Jared Regier for the state. Mr. Payne appears in person and pro se. Good morning, Mr. Payne.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Sir, you're charged in count one with speeding 82 and a 65. This carries an $87 fine, no jail time because it is a traffic infraction. Then in count two, you're accused of operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. This is a B, non-person misdemeanor. The maximum penalties are up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. You've probably heard me a number of times kind of go over some of the rights in this case, including the right to an attorney, the right to apply for attorney if you cannot afford an attorney. Probably on the speed, you don't qualify for diversion, but that's not my bailiwick. That's the county attorney's. Mr. Regier, any thoughts on whether he qualifies for diversion or not?
Your Honor, I don't have any notes one way or the other as far as this defendant is concerned.
Well, I guess your speed cutoff would actually be probably 85, so maybe he would prosecute.
Your Honor, and so, but on the flip side, I also don't have any notes one way or the other as far as the diversion coordinator is concerned.
All right, well, do you want to look into that, Mr. Payne, and see if you could maybe get these charges dismissed?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will enter a not guilty plea so you can look into diversion. And I will set this for whatever date Ashley tells us.
September the 20th.
All right, you'll need to be back here September 20th at 9 a.m. Unless you're diverted, then they'll tell you whether you have to or not. So call 316-321-6999 as soon as the hearing's over and find out what you need to do to look into that diversion.
6999.
Yes, sir. And you'll
Yeah.
also need to go into Sallyport 2 breakout room. I'll set your bond at 1,000 OR and set up a time to get your picture and prints taken since you do have a B misdemeanor. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions about any of this, Mr. Payne?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. All right, so look for that invitation from Savannah to Sallyport 2, and bond is 1,000 OR, officer. Okay. Will be on the record in 2023 TR 251, State of Kansas versus Laura Ashley Saltman. Jared Regier for the state, Ms. Saltman in person and pro se.
I'm here.
Good morning, Ms. Saltman. All right, you are looking at count 1, driving while suspended. And as you've heard me tell others, that carries a fine of $100 to $1,000 and a 6-month possible maximum jail sentence. If it's your first conviction, it's a B non-person misdemeanor, and you don't have mandatory must-serve jail time. You do not have. Count 2, operating a motor vehicle without valid registration. That's a $50 to $2,500 fine and a 30-day to 6-month possible sentence. Diversion, or I'm sorry, you could get probation from that. And then in count 3, speeding 94 and a 75. That does not carry jail time as a traffic infraction, but it does have a scheduled fine of $99.
My paper says 84.
Yours says
and it's
84.
75.
Mr. Regier, what's
Yeah.
yours?
One moment, Your Honor.
Again, my computer's not working this morning and I took this down as 94, but that could have simply been an error.
Your Honor, the ticket I'm showing in this case for count 3 does indicate an alleged speed of 94 and a legal speed of 75 and measured by radar. My understanding is that the scheduled fine for that particular speed generally is $99.
All right, so Ms. Saltzman, that's certainly something a person needs to look at as we move along, why you have something that indicates differently. So Ms. Saltzman, you do have the right to an attorney. Do you want to hire an attorney, apply for court-appointed attorney, represent yourself, or look into the diversion program to see if you can get this dismissed?
If I could look into the diversion program, that would be lovely.
All right, I will enter a not guilty plea. That will give you time to look into diversion as well as consider if you want to hire or apply for an attorney or continue to represent yourself as you're doing now. And at this time, we're going to set this over what date?
September the 20th.
September the 20th at 9 a.m. If you don't have this diverted by then, you'll need to be back.
All right.
And to look into diversion, that number again, do you have it?
Yes, 316-321-6999.
Yes, and you'll need to go to Sallyport 2. I'm going to set your bond at 1,000 OR. So you've got your court date. You're going to apply for diversion. Your bond is set. Anything else, Mr. Regier, we need to address?
Nothing from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
All right, look for that Sallyport 2. And Savannah, if you will put Laura Saltzman and deputy at Sallyport 2 in a breakout room. We'll now be on the record in 2023 TR. Oh, we already took him up. That was Mr. Geffrey's client. Then we'll move on to Thompson, 2023 TR 91, State of Kansas versus Hannah Alexis Thompson. Jared Regier for the state. Hannah Thompson fails to appear on speeding 85 and a 70 and a registration violation. I think I'll do as I did in that other one, Mr. Regier, and do a clerk's letter for that instead of a bond bench warrant.
Very well, Your Honor.
Thank you. On the record in Trumpower, 2023 TR 1441, State of Kansas versus Robert Nicholas Trumpower III. Jared Regier for the state, Mr. Trumpower in person. Good morning, Mr. Trumpower.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Sir, you're charged in count 1 with operating a motor vehicle without valid registration, an unclassified misdemeanor. And that's a $50 fine up to $2,500, 30-day sentence up to 6 months. You also have count 2, 63 and a 55. That's a scheduled fine of $45 and no jail time. Do you, Mr. Trumpower, intend to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, represent yourself, or apply for diversion?
On one of them, I would like to apply for diversion. On the registration, I had a question. I would do diversion on it as well if I could, but I purchased this vehicle and I wasn't able to get the registration stuff that I had. When I sold the other vehicle, I was told that I could transfer the tag from the vehicle that I
Okay, well,
got.
Okay, sir, this is not the time to go into the detail of the facts. I'll enter a not guilty plea for you. And I will set this over to, is it September 20th at 9?
Okay.
Yes.
And that's by Zoom. Now, Mr. Trumpower, if you decide you want to apply for court appointed, get that done soon. Get to the courthouse and get that applied for, or call for an application. If you want to look into diversion or other matters, you can address those through your attorney or the county attorney. You don't have to have a bond on these charges. Anything further, Mr. Regier?
Nothing from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Trumpower. You may go.
Thank you, Mr. Regier and Your Honor. You guys have a wonderful.
You too. On the record in 2022 TR 1746, State of Kansas versus Richard Enrique Rafael Vargas. Jared Regier for the state. Mr. Vargas does not appear on one count of registration. Recommendations, Mr. Regier.
One moment, Your Honor.
I was thinking we've been having some trouble getting him here.
Your Honor, I am showing an alias summons. Looks like he has a hearing date of July 5th at 9 a.m. With residential tack down service as of April 12th. It looks like there's also another summons that was filed with the court with a hearing date of August 31st at 9 a.m. But it looks like the service on that summons was unsuccessful. But in any event,
Excuse me, Mr. Regier, was that a separate case or this case?
in this case, and I believe there are two summonses, Your Honor. One for August 31st at 9, that with an attached return of service indicating unable to serve. The other alias summons, which is for today, it does appear to indicate a residential tack down as of April 12th. Under those circumstances, state would respectfully request a bench warrant 500 cash or surety, given the charge currently at issue in this case.
All right, and that I will issue a bench warrant 500 cash assured.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'm assuming the August 31st hearing date is no longer necessary.
Yeah, let's take that off if it's on there, because I think that just get confusing, Ashley. So if there is one for that August date, let's remove that, since it was unserved. Will be on the record in 2023, TR 780, State of Kansas versus Jeffrey Wayne Walker. Jared Regier for the state. Mr. Walker, good morning. Okay, now I didn't hear you. I could read your lips, but I didn't hear your voice. Where's your voice? You have your volume up? Maybe sometimes when you use the earphones, it cuts off the volume. I don't know what that's about. Try that one more time.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I don't know why that works the way it does. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can. I got to go to another room.
Okay, we're in business unless you want me to wait just a minute.
Yeah, I'll be in the room in 2 seconds.
Okay,
All right, I'm sorry about that.
not a problem.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We are on the record in 2023, TR 780, State of Kansas versus Jeffrey Wayne Walker. Jared Regier for the state, Mr. Walker in person and pro se. Mr. Walker, you're here on one count, unlawful registration or invalid tag, a $50 fine up to $2,500 and a possible 30-day to 6-month sentence for an unclassified or C misdemeanor. Any questions about that part of it so far, Mr. Walker?
Oh, ma'am.
Do you intend to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, represent yourself, or apply for diversion?
No, ma'am.
What, you got to do one of those. Do you want to apply for an attorney? Hire an
No.
attorney?
No.
Neither one of those. Do you want to represent yourself or apply for diversion?
What is diversion?
Diversion would be a contract agreement between you and the state, if you qualify, where you would pay the fine, the cost, and a diversion fee, and show proof that you got your tag legal, and then they would dismiss the charge.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
All right,
Yep.
so we'll enter a not guilty plea to give you time to do that. We'll set this over.
I mean, I was guilty when I didn't have.
That's for you to talk to them about. They don't usually use that against you for diversion. So we'll set this over if Savannah confirms it, or Ashley, September 20th at 9 a.m.
Yes.
Now, if you get that diverted, they'll tell you you don't have to be here. But otherwise, your court date will be September 20th at 9 a.m. To apply for that diversion, you need to call 316-321-6999.
6991.
99, 6 and 39, 6999. But it is 321.
Okay.
321-6999.
Okay.
And you don't have to be booked or processed because it's not an A or B misdemeanor. Anything further, Mr. Regier?
I don't believe so, Your Honor, and the court may have already addressed this, but the information does list a second charge as an alternative charge.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Improper display of tag on Class C non-person misdemeanor.
So he has two tag violations?
Your Honor, it's charged count one, expired tag or registration, or in the alternative,
Oh.
improper display of tag, class C under KSA 8-133.
What
Okay.
what is improper display of tags? What's that?
That could mean that you've got a tag off another vehicle on there, maybe? That's what I
No.
most often
No.
see, Mr. Regier.
I was a new vehicle. I just hadn't got it tagged. That's all. I
You
still
didn't
had
have
my
any tag on it? You didn't
No,
have
I
any
didn't.
tag on it?
Yeah, I just had my 30-day tag was still on there. I hadn't registered tag. I didn't put no other tag on there. I still had my 30-day tag on there when they stopped me. So there was no improper tag. It was still my 30-day tag. I just hadn't got my car registered. I mean, I got my car registered now, but I'm just saying at the time, I just still had my 30-day tag on there and I had not got it registered and got my proper tags yet. But I hadn't had another tag on there.
It had expired.
Yeah, tag had a day, 30-day tag expired, and it was still on the car when they stopped me.
Okay. So they're saying you either did this or you did that, and I'm not sure what the that was, what they're saying is, other than they're just saying the 30-day tag didn't belong on it, but I see what your position is, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I think what the officer did say is that he couldn't see the tag.
Oh, okay.
That's
Then
what he
it
said.
could be an improper display.
I
Improper,
think-
that's one of the other most common things I see for improper display is it's not in the right plate, or you have right place, or you have it covered somehow.
No, what it was, the tag was on there, but I think he couldn't see it because I guess my car was a little dirty, so it was kind of,
Okay.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, you do have to have it where the officer can see it, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's most likely it. Okay, so call that number if you want to apply for diversion and come back here for that date unless they tell you otherwise. And I think that's it. Anything else, Mr. Regier?
Not on this case, Your Honor.
All right, then thank you, Mr. Walker. You are excused. You may go.
1 second, ma'am, that number is 316-321-6999.
Yes, sir, that is correct. All right,
And we
anything
going-
else?
Okay, we just call that number to apply, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, appreciate it.
And don't just apply. If you granted it, you have to send a contract back in and fees will apply, so.
Okay,
All right, thank you, sir.
thank you, have a good day.
Thank you, you too. We are in recess and we are now on the record in 2022 TR 2190, State of Kansas versus Sydney Wells. Jared Regier for the state. Sydney Wells fails to appear, although she logged in, unless she's a kitty cat. There she is, in addition to the kitty cat. On the record in 2022 TR 2190, State of Kansas versus Sydney A. Wells. Ms. Wells, your first appearance on September 14th of 2022, you told me you were going to apply for diversion, but then you failed to appear at your next court date of November 9th, 2022. You were apparently arrested and then failed to appear again March 20th of 2022. You've apparently been arrested again and appeared today, but because I haven't seen you, I don't know if you followed up on your diversion for no proof of insurance, no valid tag, and 64 miles per hour and 45. So update me. What have you been doing concerning these charges?
The one court date that I missed, my dad had kept the paper because I lived with my dad at the time, and my dad kept the paper and didn't tell me about it. I've only been arrested once though, and I wasn't arrested. I turned myself in for the warrant that I had, and then I got bonded out.
Okay.
I was on my way to Utah whenever I had court in September, and I called to apply for a diversion, but she told me that she was going to call me back, but I never got a call back, and then I completely lost the number, and so I didn't really know what to do, to be honest.
All right. So in other words, you did not apply for diversion? You did not formally apply?
I don't think so.
Okay, so, okay, Mr. Regier, that's been a while ago. What do you want to do on the issue of diversion? Is she still eligible?
Your Honor, at this point, the state would respectfully withdraw the opportunity for diversion.
All right, well, with that off the table, Ms. Wells, let's review your options. You can hire an attorney. You can apply for court appointed. You can waive attorney and represent yourself. Now that's one issue. The other issue is, are you going to plead guilty, admitting the charges and proceed to sentencing? Are you going to plead not guilty, denying the charges and set the matter for trial at a later date? Or are you going to plead no contest, neither admitting the charges or denying them, but most likely will be found guilty? Or do you want to talk to an attorney before you make the decision on how you want to plead? So let's back up to how you want to proceed on the attorney issue. Do you
I
want to
guess
hire, apply, or represent yourself?
apply.
Okay, are you employed at this time?
Yeah, I start tomorrow.
How long have you been unemployed?
I haven't been. I've been working for Frank's Golden Girls. It's a home health care, but I just quit there last week and I start a new job in Winfield.
Okay, what kind of work is that?
It's the same job. It's the Cumbernauld Village, the same home health care job. It's just at a different place.
Is that a full-time 40-hour-a-week job, or how many hours do you work?
It's full time, yeah.
Okay, and what do you make per month?
I don't know. I'm starting out at 13, but in about a month I'll have my CNA. So it just really depends.
And you're working 40 hours a week, is that right?
Yeah.
Are you married or single?
Single.
Any children?
No.
Do you pay rent or a mortgage?
No, I live with my sister.
Have an automobile of any sort?
Yeah.
And what is it?
2002 Ford Taurus.
Make any payments on that?
No.
Don't have any other expenses, or do you?
No.
So you don't have any expenses at all?
Just my phone bill. I help my sister with rent, but it's not in my name or anything.
Okay, well, how much do you help your sister?
I split it sometimes, but I mean, the most of it is $550.
All right, well, you're pretty close on these lines, maybe. I'm going to appoint Attorney Darren Patterson, Darren Patterson, Patterson, 316-321-6999.
Okay.
No, I told you wrong. Darren Patterson's number is 316-322-7700. Call him as soon as this hearing is over. Give him your contact information. Your next hearing, could you give me a Monday at 8 a.m., please, Ashley?
October the 16th.
October the 16th.
Yes.
That's Monday, 8 a.m., October the 16th. Be back here with Mr. Patterson by Zoom. Make sure you contact him as soon as this hearing is over. You are on bond. Anything else we need to take up, Mr. Regier?
Nothing from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Wells, you can go. We'll be in recess, but make sure you call Mr. Patterson and be back here on the date and time given.
Okay, what was the last four digits of that number again?
7700. 7700.
Okay, thank you.
322. You're welcome. You may go. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Mr. Regier, who else, if anyone, do you have on the docket?
Your Honor, I am still showing 23 TR 1857, Michael McPherson.
We are on the record in 2023 TR 1857, State of Kansas versus Michael Donald McPherson. Jared Regier for the state. Mr. McPherson fails to appear on driving while suspended second, operating without registration, operating without insurance. Looks like this is first appearance. It says bond. But I'm not seeing a bond in the file.
Your Honor, if I may.
Please.
I do have an appearance bond in the file. It looks like it's
Okay.
a 1,500 professional surety bond with first choice AAA hot rod. Looks like it was executed back on April for today's specific day, July 5th at 9. State would respectfully suggest 3,000 as your surety bond forfeiture bench warrant would be appropriate.
Bond forfeiture bench warrant issued, new bond set at 3,000 cash or surety. Anyone else, Mr. Regier?
I believe that is it at my end, Your Honor.
All right, Deputy Costello.
I got one here. The last name is Dororian Jolie. First name? DER.
How long ago did that person arrive? Jolie Dawn, DEROUEN.
Yes.
Has she been here very long?
No, I don't have her here. I have an empty spot.
I see. All right, we did call her and she failed to appear. Bench warrant issued with 500 cash or surety.
Okay, I thought I had missed one.
All right, and Ashley, anyone else on your list?
Nope, that's all I have.
All right, this docket then is adjourned, and thank you all very much.
Thank you.